Okay, so we're gonna get started now. It's 11 o'clock. Thank you everyone for coming. Today is going to be how to take great shots on your smartphone camera. So I am going to be going over iPhone and Android. So it is going to be a little tricky because not everybody on this call has the same iPhone model. Some people may have older iPhone models. Some people are going to have Androids and different Android models. So just bear with me as I try my best to answer all your questions about where all the icons are located and how to do different things pertaining to your particular iPhone. If I do screen share and I have time at the ending to show my phone, I have the iPhone 13 Pro. So if you have that model or something similar to that, your phone may look like mine. So let's get started. These are some smartphone camera terms to know just before we start the presentation. So these are like the 4 biggest features that your smartphone camera can do. Doesn't matter if you have an Android or an iPhone. This is for both cameras. So let's say live photo. Has anyone heard of live photo before? Have used live photo?
No.
Okay. Live photo, which is what iPhones call it, or motion photo for Android phones, is when you capture something right before and right after you take the photo. And it also includes the audio. So what does this mean? This is basically like a mini video, but it's only going to be 1 to 2 seconds long. So when you take a live photo and you look at it back in your camera roll in your gallery, the photo's actually going to move. It's going to have a little bit of motion. And that's what a live photo, motion photo does. Why do some people do live photos or motion photos? Because they want to, remember the memory with a little bit of emotion. It's a smaller version of a video. So that's why live photos are popular. And I'll show you after this slide where to find live photo and motion photo. Pano is another word short for panoramic. So let's say you wanted to capture the beautiful New York City skyline. You wanted to capture yourself at the beach. You're somewhere in the mountains. You would use pano to capture the whole entire scene. So instead of taking a small portion of the New York City skyline, you can take a picture of every single building in one shot. That's what a panoramic photo does. It's also on both Android and iPhones, and I will show you where to find it. Next, we have portrait mode. Portrait mode is something that mostly newer iPhone models have, but you may have it if you have an iPhone 8 or an iPhone 7. I'm just not too sure, but it is included in newer iPhone models and on newer Android models. And what a portrait photo does is add a depth of field to your photos. So for example, if you just wanted you yourself, the subject, and everything else in the background blurry, you would use portrait mode. So you yourself is the only thing in focus and everything else behind you is blurry. So you get a very dramatic effect. And that's what portrait mode does. Lastly, we have something called burst mode. So if you have used the camera before on your phone, you know that you just click on the white button to take a picture. But if you hold down that white button, which is the shutter button, if you hold it down, it will go into something called burst mode, which is multiple photos in one shot. So let's say you were walking and you wanted like a walking photo of you in motion. You could hold down that shutter button So then all your pictures are you walking, you know, down the streets of some fancy alleyway or something like that. For Android phones, you would hold the button down, hold and slide the button down. Burst mode is not, you know, something I really use, but if you wanted to get something like, if you know that your hand is maybe shaky or you think that the photo is not going to look good, you can use burst mode so it could take multiple photos and then you can choose yourself which shot looks best. Does anybody have any questions on these terms?
With a portrait, is that only if you're doing a selfie?
You could do it either with a selfie or with your back camera.
Oh, okay.
However, not all models can do it with the selfie, the front camera. So then portrait is usually just used with the back camera. It all depends on the iPhone models or Android model you have. So newer phones like the 11, the 12, the 13, the 14, you can do portrait mode with your front camera and your back camera. Any other questions? Okay, so where do you find live photos? So if you're not using your phone today to use a Zoom call, you can open up your camera and, you know, try to find it yourself. If you are using your phone for the Zoom call, don't worry, I'll record it and you can view this later. But this is how the live photo looks like. Once again, what is a live photo? That's when you take a picture and when you view it back, the photo just moves very shortly, 1 to 2 seconds. And how would you turn it on? Well, for iPhones, is on the right-hand side of the screen. It's like a circle, like 3 circles, I guess. For Android phones, it's like square with a little triangle. And when you touch on that icon, you can either turn it on or turn it off. Yellow means on, white means off. That's only if you want your photos to move. If you don't want them to move, you want to keep it off. Anybody have questions on that?
No, good.
Seems okay.
Okay, so next we have the panorama, and I just wanted to show you what exactly visually, since we're on Zoom and I can't really show you. But let's say you wanted a picture of this whole entire Brooklyn Bridge from the beginning of the bridge to all the way to the ending of the bridge. That is when you would use the feature of pano, or short for panorama, where you can start taking the picture from the front of the bridge and you just move your phone very slowly to the right so it can capture the whole entire bridge. And then at the ending, once you finish, you get a long photo like this that you see on the PowerPoint of the whole entire bridge. That's what it's usually used for, different skylines or different sceneries where you want a long photo. People also use this if you have a very large family or friend group. And if you want all your family members to, you know, be in the photo, you would use panorama. And I will show you as well at the ending, hopefully, where to find this if I have time. Does anybody
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, you can.
On my phone, when I turn on the panel, there above the clicker, you know, the circle, there says 0, 0.5 and 1x. What does that mean?
So I am going to go over that later, but that is your zoom options to zoom in or zoom out.
Why does it appear on top there? Can I remove that?
No, you cannot remove it. That's just how the model is. Those are buttons that stay there. You cannot remove them.
Because they're sort of in the way sometimes when you're trying to take a picture. But
right,
anyway.
yeah. Unfortunately, though, you cannot move them.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, another thing is camera flash icon. So Has anyone used their flash before when they've took a picture on their phones?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So whether you have an Android or an iPhone, they both apply. But I'm going to just say briefly what it should look like with an iPhone, then with an Android. So everyone's model is included. So once again, if we start and we look at this picture from left to right, if the lightning bolt icon, the lightning bolt is your flash icon. If the lightning bolt has a slash through it, that just means your camera flash is off. So anytime you take a picture, your camera flash is never going to turn on. If the lightning bolt is white and does not have a slash, what this means is your camera will turn the flash on when it feels like it needs to be turned on. So for example, if it sees that it's very bright outside, your camera is not going to take a picture with the flash. Your phone knows, it's very smart, and it could tell if it's very bright outside.
Oh, good.
If it's nighttime outside, or maybe it's a sunset, or maybe you're somewhere dark in your house, your camera will turn the flash on because it knows that it needs to have the flash. It knows that when you take the picture, you're not going to be, lit up. So whenever you see that symbol that it does not have the slash through it, it's just in white, this just means automatic that it will turn on when it feels like it's not bright outside, or if it sees that it's in good light, it just won't take a flash. If you do have an Android phone, what you will have is a little A for automatic. So if you see a little A next to your lightning bolt, the same rules apply. In good light, it will not flash. In dim light, it will. Lastly, if you see that your lightning bolt just has a yellow around it, what this means is that your camera is always going to flash when you take a picture. So you can always touch it to turn it off. Does anybody have a question on those three icons? Okay, so this is where you find how to turn on your iPhone camera flash. I do have pictures for newer models, older models, and for Android. So this is for newer iPhone models. So if you have a 10, 11, a 12, a 13, or a 14, this is the slides for you. So in your camera, the first step is to always use your finger and touch on the little caret icon at the top of the screen. If you do not see this caret icon at the top of the screen, this means your phone model is older, and I have another slide for you. But if you do have the little caret all the way at the top in the middle, you do want to touch that, and a menu of icons will appear at the bottom of the screen. If you don't find the caret icon, once again, that means you have an older model phone, and I have another slide for you to look at. But if you do have the caret, just touch that little icon at the top and look at the second photo here, where you should have your little lightning bolt icon at the bottom of the screen. And it should give you an option of whether or not you want to have your flash in automatic, on, so always on all the time, or off. And you can see what I'm talking about. If you look at the third photo on the screen, I'm talking about this little menu that says flash audio on and off. Does anybody have any questions for that, for those who have the newer iPhone models?
No, seems good.
For the older iPhone models, you do not have a caret button at the top of the screen. All you have is just a flash lightning bolt icon at the top of your screen, usually in the left-hand corner. And when you touch on that, you should get an option that says auto on and off. And this is usually for models that are 6, iPhone 8, iPhone SE. Does anybody have questions on that?
Tabitha, I have a 6 and I have a caret.
You have the caret?
Right, I had the caret and I had that, the menu on the bottom.
Oh,
And
okay.
one thing over the white circle, it looks like files or something, and it has a line through it.
Oh, that's just filters. That's
Oh.
something different. But
And then,
I guess you have it because you probably updated your phone to like the iOS 15 or 16.
right,
So,
right.
So, like Loretta said, if you have the iPhone 6 and you are up to date with your software updates, you probably did have the newer version for your camera. The person that just came in that's on a cell phone, if you could just please say your name.
Beverly,
Beverly.
I can see you, but you can't see me. I'm on video.
Okay, I'm just gonna rename you Beverly.
You need a last name?
Beverly D. I have you on the other.
Thank
Is
you.
that what it is? Yes.
That's-
Okay. Okay. Does anybody any other questions for those who have iPhones before we go to Android?
I have a 6, but I'm not sure it's updated.
So if you're not sure, see if you have the lightning bolt in the top right-hand corner.
I do. Yeah.
Okay, so if you do, you could touch on it and it will either put a slash through your flash or you will get an option that says on or off. Do you see that?
I've seen that, yes.
Okay, so then you're
Update-
in the right track.
I can update my 6 to 15 or 16?
You should be able to, but that is for another class, but you should be able to, yes. How to turn on
Because-
Android for, yes, Beverly?
If the battery isn't going to support it, it would be foolish to do it, I think.
Well, I don't know how much battery health you have, so it kind of depends on your situation and your phone, but you should be able to update it.
Okay.
How
Thank
to
you.
turn on Android camera flash. So for those who have Androids, there are 2 places where you should find your lightning bolt symbol. It could be at the bottom of your screen, and it also can be in the top left-hand corner, just like iPhones. But in this example, with this Android model, their lightning bolt was at the bottom. Yours could be at the top. And to simply change it to different modes, you just use one finger and tap on the lightning bolt symbol. And when you're tapping on it, you're gonna see the lightning bolt change to it having a slash, which means it's off. The lightning bolt will have maybe an A next to it, which means it's in automatic mode. Or it will have no slash, no A, which means that every time you take a picture, it will have the flash on. Does those who have Android phones have any questions on that? Okay, then. All right, so another thing that is very important that iPhones and Androids can both do is adjusting your focus and your exposure. So sometimes you don't even need to turn on and off your flash. You yourself can change the exposure of your photo. And what does exposure mean? Exposure means brightening or darkening a shot. So you yourself can do that without having to turn on your flash. Why do some people, you know, want to darken their shot? Darkening shots just make a picture more dramatic. And why do some people brighten it? Well, sometimes, you know, it's dark outside, so you need to add more brightness to your shot. And you can do both of these things and set your smartphone ready before you take your shot. So this is something you would do before you take it, not after. All right. So I think it's better to show it to you visually instead of a written description of it. So whether you have an iPhone or an Android, if you just press down on the screen, like in this photo here, you should get a yellow box for Androids. Not for Androids, I'm sorry, for iPhones. For Androids, you will have a white circle. So iPhones have a yellow box like here on the screen. Android phones should have a white circle. You only get this once you hold down on the screen. You have to use one finger only and press down on the screen. And you should see a yellow box appear. You can press down on the screen anywhere you like, but usually people press it down on the subject. So if you're taking a picture of your dog, your cat, your family member, your friend, you would press down on the screen of where your family member is in the shot, where your dog is in the shot. So wherever you're gonna take a picture right now, you press down on the screen of what you're taking a picture of. So right now I have my phone in my hand and I'm gonna take a picture of my bag. So I'm pressing down on the screen where my bag is at. And I see now a yellow box. If you see that yellow box, that means you're on the right track. And you should see that when you click on something, you get a little sun icon or little settings icon if you have an Android. When you see the little sun, just like in the second photo in the PowerPoint, you can use your finger and drag it up or down to watch the shot get brighter or down to make it darker. Once again, this does take a little practice to do, so don't get frustrated if you can't seem to do it. It did take some time when we were doing it together in the center. It's just, you just got to keep, you know, practicing. So you just hold down on the screen and don't let go with your finger. When you press down on the screen, don't let go and drag it up or down. You use the same finger and go up and down motion like in the PowerPoint. Works both way for Android and iPhone. It's the same thing with dragging your finger up and down.
My yellow box turned to a white box and it says natural light.
That means that you are in portrait mode. You want to look at the bottom of the screen and make sure you're still in photo mode. Right at the top where your circle white button is, Sandy,
Yes,
at the top it should say photo. You're in portrait right now.
it doesn't
wanna-
say anything right now.
At the bottom, you should be in photo mode. Photo. So at the bottom you have video, photo, portrait, panel. You want to stay in photo.
Yes, I usually do, but all that disappeared as we're talking. I just see symbols.
Okay, so if it disappeared, then just leave the camera app and go back.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else have questions on this?
Tabitha, I don't know what it is, but it's a rectangle, a yellow rectangle. And it says AE/AF lock.
Yeah, so that's fine. That just means that, let's say you were taking a picture of a subject, it's locking the focus on that so the picture won't be blurry. That is fine. That is the standard when you hold down the box.
Okay, thanks.
That's perfectly fine.
But then it won't move. Then the I have the same thing, AEAF lock, but then you can't move the.
Yeah,
the-
so all you have to do with your finger, just touch anywhere on the screen to unlock it.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on this specifically? Anything from people who have Androids? Do you see this as well, hopefully? This is also works on all models of the phone. So even if you have an older phone, you should be able to see a yellow box or white, depending on if you have an Android. Once again, this is to make shots darker or brighter once you move your finger up and down. If you do not want to make your shots brighter or darker, just tapping on the screen and getting that yellow box is just going to help you make the photo in focus, so it does not become blurry when you take your shot. That is why people touch on the screen to get that yellow box or that white box. They want to make sure that their subject is in focus.
Oh, I see. Because the box itself didn't move, but when I pulled my finger down and up, it made it darker and lighter.
Yep,
But
that's it.
But the square stayed in the same place.
Yes, that's exactly how you do it.
I see. Great. Okay, that makes sense.
Any other questions from anyone else? All right, so we're gonna move on to the next topic. This is just another shot of how it looks like if you may have a Samsung phone. Sometimes it looks like this. It just every single iPhone or Android model, they all have the same features, but they just look differently. So that's why I said with Android phones, you may see a circle, a white circle, or it could be a yellow circle. So this is what this photo is. Okay, so the next thing I really want to go over is a timer, because a timer is very important if you want to get a shot where you feel like your hand is going to be shaky, or you want a shot with your full body, or if you want to put your phone somewhere and then your phone takes it itself. Timers come in very handy. So with a timer, you do not have to worry about clicking the capture button. You can set your phone up somewhere, maybe against the wall, against something where it won't fall, and it will take the picture for you. So with an iPhone, if with the timer, you can get a 3-second or a 10-second timer. Android phones vary. You can get a timer with a 2-second, 5-second, or 10-second timer. Sometimes some models also have 3 seconds as well, because I did this class in the center and it was also mixed with Androids and iPhones. So whether you have 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, those are usually the amount of times you get on your phones. So if you see today that you don't have a specific time, it's just because your phone model only has those times and you can't really change it. That's just how it is for that phone. So I'm gonna go over both again, Android and iPhone. So first is iPhone, how to set a timer with your iPhone camera. Once again, if you do have the newer models, but Loretta said that with her iPhone 6, she has it as well. But if you click on that top arrow again in the middle of the screen, once again, your row of icons should appear at the bottom of the screen, just like this. So you should see a lightning bolt, maybe the live photo icon. You may see something that says 4, 3, plus and minus. So just use your finger and slide the icons over until you see this little clock icon. It looks like a timer actually that you would use like for cooking. If you don't see it, with one finger, drag the icons over to the left. So with one finger, I'm moving it slightly to the left, and now I see the little clock icon. When I click on the clock icon, it should open up to something that looks like this. 3 seconds or 10 seconds. Maybe it will say 2 seconds, maybe it will say 5 seconds. Once again, it depends on the model phone you have. So let's say I did click on 3 seconds, or let's say I clicked on 10 seconds. That means that I could set my phone up somewhere quickly. Maybe it won't be good for this call, but in the future, if you want to try it, I could set my phone against the wall, against something that it won't fall on the ground. And once I click on this white button capture icon, you will see a countdown of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and it will take the picture. Or if you do 3 seconds, you'll see a 3, 2, 1, and it will take the picture.
Ah. So I
Does
really
any-
don't need to extend my hand. Put the phone steady place and set the timer.
Putting it in certain places helps him.
Oh.
Yes.
Put it in certain places difficult.
Yeah, sometimes there's no place.
You don't know. You have to.
Yeah, like, yes, that is correct. Sometimes there isn't a place to, stand your phone somewhere, so it can be difficult. But usually timers are meant for, like maybe professional people have tripods and they put it on a tripod. But, you could use a counter, the wall, a chair, anything where you can try to place your phone somewhere and press the icon and it'll take a picture. It's not really used like to keep your phone in your hand.
Yeah, I just tried it with one of these holders that you have for phones or for iPad or something.
Yes.
That worked great.
Yeah. So yeah, it's usually like, yeah, if you have a little holder or something for your phone, you
Right.
can use that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be difficult if you were outside and tried it. You would have to try to find a
Right.
safe place for your phone. You don't want it, to crack on the floor. But it does come in handy if you really want that, shot of you from your head to your feet if you're standing up somewhere. If you really want a photo with the background or something, it could be a good, thing to do and use for. Does anybody that have iPhones have questions on this? If you do have an older phone model with not the recent update, your little clock timer button should be in the top of your camera screen. So not at the bottom, but at the top, one of the icons at the top. And it does look like a little clock timer, like here on the screen where I just circled. Okay, does anybody else have any questions for iPhones before we go to Android? Okay, so for those who have Androids, your icon does look a bit similar to the iPhone actually. So it actually is kind of like the same icon where at the top of the screen, you should have a circle with a line that looks like a clock. And when you click on it, you should get either an option that says 2 seconds, 5 seconds, or 10 seconds. However, I did meet someone at the center where when they tried it and they had an Android, they only had 3 and 10 seconds like an iPhone. So it really depends on the Android model you have. but the clock symbol should be at the top of your screen. If you have multiple icons at the top of your screen, try to use your finger and slide it left and right to try to find the icon. But it's the same thing with an iPhone where you click on the clock and you get either 2, 5, or 10 seconds. And you could set your phone up somewhere, click on your white capture button, and you will see a countdown with 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay. All right, so the last thing I am going to go over is Zoom. And I think someone already said, in the call, what is that 0.5 or that 1 on my screen? Can I move it? So unfortunately, no, you can't move it. That's just how the camera looks like on a smartphone. Androids as well has this. So what am I talking about? If I just circle on the screen right now, if you all could see that red circle I just put on the left-hand side of the screen, that is what I'm talking about. Those are your zoom buttons. So depending on how many cameras you have on your phone will show you how, your different numbers. So for example, if you just look at your iPhone or Android right now, and you just flip it to the back like how I am, I can see how many cameras I have. So if you see here, me on the screen, I have 3 cameras on the back of my phone. If you look in the back of your phone, you may have 2, you may only have 1. Those different cameras is how far you can zoom. So if I have 3 cameras, that means that my power to zoom is much greater than those who have only 1 camera on the back of their phone. So for me, here where I just circled on the screen, I do not have 2. I have 3. I have 0.5, 1, and 3 because I can zoom very, very far in because of the cameras I have on the back of my phone. Some of you may just only have the number 1 because you may only have 1 camera, or your phone model is older, so you can't zoom in like the other phone models that are from more recent. So those are what those numbers mean. And for those who have iPhones, if you just touch and hold it down, so whether you have a 1 or 2 or 0.5 or 3, if you just hold down that number, a wheel should appear just like here on the screen. And you can move that wheel with your finger to zoom in on something. If you have an Android, the same rules apply. You hold down the number, and instead of a wheel, you have a slider that moves left and right. iPhones have a wheel, Androids have a slider. Does anybody have questions on that?
Tabitha, I don't have that. I just have 4, 4:3. I can't find that 1, 2.
Oh, because, all right, I see. So you do not have any numbers at the top. Is that
No, I have no
okay? So
number.
that be okay. Yes. So Loretta, since you have the older iPhone 6, you do not have any numbers. So what you would have to do is use 2 fingers and pinch the screen to zoom
Oh,
in.
okay. Okay, got it.
Yes. Thank you, Loretta, for letting me know though. So if you do have an older iPhone or older Android, you have to use 2 fingers and pinch the screen to zoom in. Unfortunately, I do not know why, but with newer iPhones or newer Androids, they put, the numbers for us to zoom in. However, with, newer software updates, it doesn't give that to older phones. If you know how to zoom in, you just use two fingers and pinch the screen. So you use two fingers, thumb and your pointer, and like move them outwards, and it should zoom in.
And Tabitha, on the bottom of the screen there, when you do that, you get a line and you have a circle, a yellow circle that goes from the minus to the plus when you're zooming in and out.
Okay, that is the minus and the plus is like an exposure button.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, don't worry about that.
Okay, but that's what appears when you do the pinching.
It might do that since you pressed on it by accident.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone else have questions on zooming in?
Can you
Whether
still do the picture with the newer ones?
You can, yes, it still works. It's just
It
that
still works.
the newer phones, it's just kind of making it easier for you, I guess. If you
Is
know.
it? I'm
No,
not sure.
you don't think it's easier?
I don't know. It's easy to do with your fingers. I'm used to that.
Oh, okay. I don't know. For me, I feel like it's easier. I like to like use the wheel.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess it could be a personal preference if you feel, there's no wrong way.
I just want to know if it's still okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which way you do it. Any other questions on zooming? Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly screen share my phone because we do have 10 minutes left where I can show you my phone, and hopefully, we could go over some things together. If you have any other final questions on photo, how to take a picture, you could, tell me now. So I'm gonna screen share my phone, and then you could ask me any questions you like. Any questions right now before I screen share?
High definition, HDR.
Okay, that's a good one. So most of the photos that you do take, they are in high definition because that's just the setting that your phone gives you. They are going to take up a lot of space on your phone because the higher the quality of your phone, the more space it takes in your phone. And basically to change that setting, you do have to go in your settings for the iPhone, which I could show you how to do that. So let me screen share. All right, so this is specific for iPhones because I'm pretty sure though with Androids, you can go into your camera and change it just like how I am going to show it. You just have to find your settings where it says camera, just like how I'm going to do it. So I clicked on my settings icon, which is my gear icon. And I am going to scroll down with my finger until I find the word camera. So once I see the word camera, I'm going to click on it. So I found it here. Yours could be, you could keep scrolling and probably find it. It could be somewhere else as well, but it is in your settings. All right.
When we take off and delete a photo out of our gallery, it takes battery energy for it, but does the memory of that deletion stay in the cloud?
Once you delete a picture, it should delete off the cloud. If your cloud and your photos are synced together.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But your question with the HDR, is this Beverly who's speaking with me?
I was filling space while you were finding it.
Oh, okay. Is this Beverly that I'm talking to? Okay, so Beverly, when I clicked on camera.
Yep, I got a 6.
Okay, so at the top we have something called format. And when I click on formats, you can see that I am taking pictures in high efficiency, which is HDR, very high definition photos. But if you wanted to save space, you could click on most compatible, which is It is going to take, you know, regular photos and maybe not be too high definition. So for example, you may not see the pores in the person's face, but it's a very decent, it'll still be a decent photo, but maybe not that HD. If you clicked on where it says most compatible.
Okay.
All right, so I'm in my camera right now. This is, you know, the computer screen. And I have the iPhone 13 Pro, which means that I have a camera button at the top. I have the live photo on the right-hand side, the flash on the left-hand side at the top of the screen. At the bottom, I have different functions. So I'm in photo right now, and I know I'm in photo because photo is highlighted in yellow all the way at the bottom. If I moved my finger to portrait, now I'm in portrait mode because portrait is in yellow. And same thing with panel. I'm in panel now, panorama. All the way on the left-hand side, I have something called time lapse.
Yeah, what's that?
Time lapse is basically to take a long video and then it speeds it up. So people usually do time lapse to take a video of the sunset. So if you want to see the sun go down, you do a time lapse video and keep your phone recording for a good hour. And then with time lapse, the 1 hour video that you took now becomes a good, I don't know, 30-second to 1 minute video of the sun just going down.
Oh.
So time lapse speed up your videos very quickly, but you do have to keep then your phone recording for a very long time. If you just record your phone for 10 seconds, it's not really going to work the way it should. Has to
So
be
you have to press down on it first?
Yes, you have to click on the red button.
And then go to the video.
No, you click on the red button and then it starts recording. So you want to set your phone up somewhere that you know motion is gonna happen. So that's why I use the sunset as an example. Or I don't know, I guess if you're like in the zoo, you want to see like the animals playing and then speed it up. Or like I guess some people use it like for cooking videos. So if someone wanted to make a cooking tutorial, they use time lapse to show you of how they, you know, made the meal, but you don't want to see a one video of the whole meal. You want to see it very quickly. So people use time lapse, or someone cleaning their house, they use time lapse.
Okay.
Yeah, so something that would take a long time to do, but then your phone speeds it up for you.
Fun. Cool.
Okay, lastly, because we have like 7 minutes left, so some people were talking about these icons here that you said you see, like the 4-3, the square, the plus and minus. I know Loretta asked a question on that. So yeah, these are some of the main kind of icons with an iPhone. I'm very sorry for those who have Android, if you do have an Android, because some of these icons you may not have them, or they could be indicated somewhere else. So if you do have an Android phone, you should go to your settings icon that is on the top left-hand corner to kind of find all the features that your Android phone could do. I do know that Androids have filters. You could change the dimensions. You had the timer like us. You have your motion photo. The only thing different that I will discuss that the iPhone has that Android probably does have, but it's located somewhere else, is just this little icon with the squares and the slash through it. So the third icon on my screen. This is a filter button. So if I use my finger and slide it left to right, it's going to change the colors of the picture. So you can see it could turn cool tone, warm tone, vibrant, rich contrast. So it's basically like a filter button before you take the picture. So if you wanted to get a really good Instagram picture of yourself on vacation, you can use these filters and see which shot looks best for you.
That's not available on the 12, iPhone
Oh.
12.
Yeah, once again, yeah, it could be not on your phone model too. So some of these icons are very specific to different models and different companies, which is that's why it's kind of hard to go through the icons since there's many people that have different ones.
Right.
But that's why I did show you functions today that are specific to all the phones. But if anyone has any other questions about their specific model, I will definitely be happy to answer it before the time is over.
What does the 4/4/3 mean?
So the 4:3 is the size of your photo. So right now, I'm in 4:3. So it's gonna take, you see where my finger is. It's gonna take like this bunch of a picture. But if I change it to a square, you can see it now got smaller. If I change it to 16, now it's the whole entire screen. So it's the different size of your photo.
Oh, interesting. You can get a square.
Yes, if you do have an Android, once again, you should have this, but it should be in the settings, not the actual settings app, but you do have a little settings gear button at the top of your screen for those who have Android. Lastly, because I'll just go over the icons, if you do have something with these 3 little circles all the way on the right hand side, that is just more filters. So if you see right now on the screen, you can see that the colors are slightly changing. You can see now it turned black and white.
And it will take it like that?
And then it will take it like that, correct.
So like when I'm doing fall foliage, I did the experience of taking a picture in every single one of them and then seeing which one would be.
That is a good way to do it. Yeah.
But if I was facing the sunset and trying to do foliage, totally different than if it was behind me or midday or morning. So it's a good thing to do experiments with.
I agree. Any other final questions on anything we went over today?
I don't have portrait on my 6.
Yeah, so portrait is a newer thing for newer phones. You could also do portrait mode with videos. What was that?
Oh,
I couldn't hear you.
Videos would be the same as portrait on mine.
Yeah, it would be the same, yes.
But sometimes I take a screenshot off of a video so that I have a still of something I see.
Yeah, well, videos, you could do portrait mode. You can't see my video here because I'm using my camera to show you the Zoom call. So if I can't show you it up video mode right now, but
yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, newer phones can do portrait with video. I don't know if you've seen, like, there's a lot of documentaries on Netflix that are all shot with an iPhone, and they use like portrait mode with video with the newer iPhones.
What's numbers the newer, you mean?
I would say the 11, the 12, the 13, the 14.
Oh, okay, because my husband has 11. I can maybe experiment with his.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so okay.
Plus and minus.
Oh, the plus and minus was the exposure. And exposure to make the photo brighter. So remember when you were holding the screen and going it up and down? That's just another way to make the exposure brighter.
Okay.
Instead of if you found that difficult to go up and
Yeah,
down
that
with your
was a little
finger.
complicated.
Yeah, right.
This seems easier, right? Good.